Hello and welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. Last time I had not so many books to share with you, but this time I have a lot. It's unpredictable. It's just the way it goes. This is the First Tomato. It's by Rosemary Wells, and it's a delightful combination of a morning that didn't go so well at school, followed by the mother helping in a sort of almost a reverse story. Two stories, the not so good morning, the great afternoon, the visit, First Tomato. This book I've shown you before, Squash Pie. Maybe not this exact same book, but the book by Wilson Gage, illustrated by Glenn Rounds. It's just, to me, I think it's one of those perfect gems, just like the First Tomato is, that has a sense of humor and surprises, and the words and the pictures just complement each other so well. So whereas Rosemary Wells does both in her book, the combination of Gage and Rounds, pretty good in that book, I'll say. Here's one where we have the artist is also the storyteller, and that's Barbara Cooney. It's called Miss Rumphius, and it's quite a story, a New England kind of story. It involves, well, I think you can guess, lupins, a gift of the heart. When Aunt Lucy rode a mule, and other stories. Now, Barbara Ann Port did a lovely series of early readers, and she also told some great stories, like when Grandma almost fell off the mountain, and then this particular book here, which has got a number of stories, and because it involves the farm and involves a mule, I couldn't resist putting it in. This book I have shared before. You can't tell anything really from the cover. Whoa, well, there's a market scene, just by whatever turned up, a market scene. And we've been looking at food in different countries, and this book is one of those sort of ironies. Irony, like for many of the first settlers that came, like to the Jamestown area, and they came looking for gold, or the Spaniards that came looking for gold when they were standing on ridges, this fertile land, and so sometimes you don't realize what you have. Now, Miss Briddy grew up, and I'm not sure where she grew up. It might have been Ireland, is my feeling. And she set out to the New World to be an immigrant. So it's an immigrant story. It's illustrated by Mary Azarian, and it's a beautiful story. And here she is with a picture. Well, I don't want to give it away. I think I might end up giving it away. Oh, but here's a nice one of sunflowers. Another nice combination of the storyteller and the artist well chosen for it. Same here. Well, if you've got a rural story, you want it illustrated. Mary Azarian, hard to beat that. This is Carol Saul, and it's called Barn Cat. Something I don't think I'd mentioned before. If you're going to have a barn, you're going to want a barn cat, no doubt. This story opened with a drawing like this by Claire Novella. She's the artist. And the story is the life in the ocean, the story of oceanographer Sylvia Earle. And it's well, the amount of work that went into that 2-page illustration. But there they are, moving into their new home. Now, their old home had looked like this. Well, that new home's going to turn out to be pretty special too. But this is where she really got her feet wet, so to speak, in the streams and with the water and the water life and the birds and well, just everything. And so having that gift of being close to nature changed her life, probably, helped make her life what it became. Now, she wrote her an own book, and I think I've maybe shown you this, called Dive, National Geographic book. My Adventures in the Deep Frontier. Now, I wanted to show you these picture type books. I want to show you some poetry books, and I want to show you some books by artists. So here's some poets that I think are, some of them have a tremendous range. In other words, the poem can be enjoyed and appreciated by maybe someone 6 years old, or someone 10, or someone 40 years old. First person is Valerie Worth. Her books were all initially published as hardcovers, and then paperbacks. But somebody got the great idea to put all the small poems from the 4 volumes that she'd done into one book. And I got a class set of these, and they were lovely to read. They're short. But they're small wonders. And the illustrations by Natalie Babbitt, oh, such beautiful illustrations. So again, the two made quite a pair. All the small poems and 14 more. I said, oh. So I didn't need to get a class set, but I got this because I wanted to know what those next 14 were. And I made a little note here of, there's a poem about grass, zinnia, raw carrots, daisies, hollyhocks, crickets, earthworms, lawnmower, acorn, caterpillar, hose, mosquito, weeds, toad, pumpkin, honeycomb, mushroom, pail, backyard, rosebush, slug, beetle, mantis, asparagus, crows, dandelion, water lily, horse chestnut, violets, web, potatoes. That, well, I think one could say, could make a nice book on garden poems, couldn't they? Well, I think they could. Anyway, for what that's worth, the pheasant on Route 7, K Starbird. Now, K's, I've got the some others of hers here. Don't Ever Cross a Crocodile. And A Snail's Failure Socially. And there's another book that she did called Covered Bridge House. And that had a poem in it about a bean pole house, tent. And it's here somewhere. I Gave My Mom a Castle. Jean Little. That's a beautiful book of poems, and this is a beautiful collection of poems as well. Out and in the Dark and Daylight by Eileen Fisher, and drawings by Gail Owens. And it's interesting. The drawings and art is important in the blend of them. Tasha Tudor's Garden. Well, she was an artist and wrote some books, and she lived a life back, recreating a former time when people didn't have certain things, and so she cooks with wood, and she has, and so forth. There's something with a mark here, but I'm not sure. Oh. And she's out with an old-fashioned wheelbarrow, and that was part of her persona, I expected. And here's a tree just loaded with fruit, and stone wall. This house is in New Hampshire, and I believe one can visit it even. Now her daughter, Bethany Tudor, wrote a book about her, and one of her sons helped build the house when she moved to it, and so she was turning back the clock. Grandma Moses became quite a sensation. She didn't start to paint until she was quite old, but she lived to be very old. And this book by Zibby O'Neill, illustrations by Donna Ruff, but there's also paintings in here. They're black and white. And just, she lived, if you went to, say, Albany, and you went to northeast from there before you got to Vermont, that's where she ended up. She and her husband moved from that general area down to Virginia, the Shenandoah Valley, and then they later on moved back up there. This book has all her things in it, paintings in color, and it's by Otto Killar, and he was one of the first to recognize this primitive art, as it's sometimes classified as, has heart to it. Here's the maple sugaring. I might show you that again when we get back to trees. Here's Canadian. The last two are Canadians. Clarence Gannon, an introduction to his life and art. It's by Anne Newlands, and it's well, she's done a wonderful job. I mean, just the research and putting everything together. I think, and it's a lovely book to look at. There's, of course, March in the Birch Woods, 1920. I don't know whether you can pick that up at all on the camera. And let's see what else might be here. Oh, the log drives, 1928. Still doing log drives, 1928 to 33. Men out on these logs, breaking them apart, moving, and here burning stumps. And here the haying and the side. This one's got a great cradle on it, and to harvesting, 1928. The last artist is J.E.H. MacDonald, and The Tangled Garden is the name of the collection of his artwork over a period of time. This one features some sunflowers, and he was famous in connection with the group of 7 artists, and so there you are, a little smorgasbord. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, bye for now.